to welcome everyone to the conversation where we talk about everything Cowboys. My favorite team, your favorite team, America's team. Here with your host, Coach Marv.
Cowboy Nation, Cowboy Nation, Cowboy Nation. Cowboy Nation. How are you doing today? What's going on with y'all? Today I came in and stopped in quite. I know there's a multitude of people out there that's in the building. There's a multitude of people out there that may be tuning in to my show here. I'm trying to get it to find out a way that I can get this show to be able to how I can get my show to y'all just bear with me here for a second. Just bear with me for a second. Bear with me 1 second. I'm trying to get to this where anyway, what's going on, man? What's going on, Cowboy Nation? Me and this technical stuff, man. I'm trying to get it to where I can post live on Facebook. And it's telling me that it's private, and I can't get the private to open up so it can be on public. So on Facebook, I'll probably repost this out there at a later date. Let it go later date. But I wanted to come on. I hope it saved my topics. My name of this show. I'm probably going on with a lot of my other content creators that's out there on. There's a lot of big buzz today because we was told that that the Cowboys by I guess a reliable source came in and says that we're in the running um, we're in the running for Cosby. We're looking for other free agents as well. Some of our content creators are looking for other free agents as well to come in. They're looking at some of them are looking at Nicole Dean. Some are looking at some of these other free agents for fits for the Cowboys. And I understand what we're trying to do. And I know I'm going to be the most unpopular guy in the content creation world, and a lot of people is going to be probably going. It's going to be a lot of people. Hey Michelle, how you doing? There's going to be a lot of people that's going to shoot at me and shoot me down because of the stuff that. Hey Jessica, Hey, Jay. There's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna shoot me down because they're gonna say, "Yeah, Coach Marv, you don't know what you're really talking about. Uh, this is what we need. We need to get this guy. We need to have this splash guy." So I'm going to say it because I'm going on record. You know, that's why I say this Coach Marv real talk. I don't try to play around with it. Uh, I try to tell it the way I feel, where I see it. Um, and, and I'm not a person that's going to be talking about it in what we call in a soap opera terms. I'm not one of those people that's going to think that if you play fantasy football with a professional team and you just pick guys, and you pick all the guys with the names that you're going to win. I'm not one that says if you watch film on guys and you don't look at the other context of a person, context of a football player about where he came from, why that team is letting him go, what's going on, all those things have a tendency to fit to that has a tendency to fit for the puzzle. I'm not one of the ones that say, well, we gonna be able to say, well, coach, we did it with Pickens last year, that he wasn't a problem with last year with Pittsburgh, and look how he turned out for us. I'm not one of the ones that say that that's always how that turns out. And I'm gonna be one of the ones that says that I'm still skeptical about how that worked out and if it's gonna continue to work out in that way. Or was just a perfect storm with a perfect quarterback that was good enough for that situation as well. This young man needed to get a contract, but it's not about Pickens here because Pickens was one subject conversation. But this is about, are we reaching for stuff that we think that we was gonna pick up a bunch of guys on free agency, and we was gonna pick up 3 or 4 guys, the 7, 18. We're gonna build a defense from free agency, and then we're gonna sprinkle some draft picks on the other end and say that's how we're gonna work. And I understand that some people gonna say, well, you know something. Well, Seattle did that, and New England they spent a lot of money on free agents. But if you look at their core was guys that they got from the previous year that they made better. We ain't talking about we ain't talking about that. We ain't talking about how we're gonna make other guys better. We're not talking about how we gonna be dependent on other guys to get better. We're not talking about how we depend on people to have a better season. Quote, we said that this problem was at the beginning of this offseason was that Matt Eagleflus gotta go. That was the main problem. But along with that being the main problem, now it's focused on that all the players we got to. It's none of the players we got to get rid of those. A lot of this sounds like losing teams mentality. Now I know it's not a lot of people not going to agree with me. It sounds like losing team mentality. Losing team mentality is the teams that are perennial losers that jump around and say, "Oh, if we get these guys, we go and get these guys, our whole fortune gonna change." Or every time, next thing we know, we change the coaches out like we change like we change the clothes. If it don't work, get rid of it. There's no circumstances. It didn't work. Bam, got get rid of it. I'm gonna take the case in point Osa. If you look at Osa's stats, they basically was just like the stats from last year, from the previous year. And there were some great games by Osa he played. But we look at it and say, oh man, he played horribly all the way through the season. And there's no one could get on there and say, oh, and take me through the film of Osa during the whole year and tell me that it was horrible and everybody on that defensive line, even Clark and even Williams, Quentin Williams, that it wasn't some horrible moments. But he's still playing 50% of the snaps. He still ain't playing 67% of the snaps. He's still playing at an average of 57%, I think. 55, 57%. And that's around about, I think he's a tad bit under the numbers he had the year before. But I think we got a great defensive line rotation. And I don't think, for one, I don't think we hear our defensive coordinator. Our defensive coordinator said one, and he talked about being winning up front. And I understand when we talk about the trenches and winning up the front. I don't believe the Cowboys feel that they lost up on the front end last year. When this and the document of this, the title of this show is what was the real problem with our defense? One, our defensive line was the healthiest unit of the whole units of all our units that we had other than quarterback. Defensive line was the healthiest unit of all our units that we had other than quarterback. And they was probably our best unit out of all our units. Our linebackers started out with the guy we got from Chicago. He played a couple of games at the beginning. He was getting time. Then he got going. Then we got bad about him. We stopped paying a rookie 6th-round draft pick, the number 50. He played. We had to start him a couple of games. We went back to Murray. Murray played in, out. Murray didn't really play too much in the preseason because he was hurt. Then who else we got played linebacker? Then Overshown didn't come into what? Week 3 or 4. He didn't start. He started to leave the year off on pub. He didn't practice all the training camp. He came in later on. Maris, he played in there and out there. There was no continuity with the linebackers. Tell me how far we gonna go when you got a new defense and you got guys that playing linebacker that's probably not there, like Overshawn for half the time, just stand on the sideline. Sternberg don't play. Murray doesn't practice too much during the off season because he bruised up. You got Maris. You playing a rookie guy that's not a 1st-round draft pick. So tell me what continuity that this defense had with linebackers. That's problem number one. I ain't gonna say that's the number one problem, but that's a bad problem. That's a bad problem to have. First, you need to fix some continuity with linebackers, and then you need healthy linebackers that's going to be here from day one. Rookies, non-rookies, or whatever, and they got to put the work in. There is nothing saying, well, we're gonna go with a new defense, and then we'll have guys missing, and then we're gonna get the continuity when the games are played. That's problem number one. Nobody looks at that. We think it's another problem. Let's get to the problem where I think our fan bases did because we're getting pushed by that by the outside media. Second problem: what continuity we have with the secondary? During training camp, number 28, Malik Hooker, was kind of bruised up most of the time during training camp. It was reported. Same thing with Donovan Wilson. Butler, you counted on, was on PUB the whole year. Diggs was on PUB and didn't start practicing until week one, a week back before week one. Live practices. You brought in a guy like Elam. I don't even talk about him. He's not even on the football team now. I told you when you cut him, he wasn't even gonna get on the football team. Because what I saw was total non-willingness to be physical at all. Wanye Thomas, you thought you were gonna get some. He was played and he get hurt. He played. Did he disappear with an injury for the majority of the season? Malik Hooker goes out, even though I don't think he was playing well, but then he goes on PUB for IR for 4 games. Then he comes back, he's in and out. Donovan Wilson misses games. Then you playing with you bringing guys off the rookie free agent market, off of teams that have been cut, and you're putting them in the starting lineup, number 25. You put guys in the starting lineup to play. So tell me, is this gonna be fixed by a little bit? No continuity in the secondary at all. Bland plays the first game and then he out 4 games. Diggs playing, and we don't know if Diggs is 100%. Then we talking about Reddy, who's an undrafted free agent. Carson, you talk about Carson gonna play. Carson still getting hurt. He was out 2 games, 3 games from being hurt. Where was the continuity when you got a bunch of guys that they didn't practice 3-4 days a couple weeks together? To the defense of Matt Eberflus, I'm quite sure he said that like, what I got to do? I'm playing with young guys that it's nothing wrong with playing with young guys. But I'm playing with young guys that ain't getting no continuity because they're not here 100%. You had the worst mix and match secondary and linebacker core probably in the NFL. Tell me where I'm wrong. And then the other thing, let me get to another thing. The media says, because I notice the media is not on the media, because when I go out to the barbershop, when I talk to somebody, they see a Cowboy thing on me. The first thing that they say to me, y'all defense wasn't no good because y'all got rid of Michael Parsons. That's the first thing they say. I ask y'all, if Michael Parsons was on this team and Clark Wood, and you couldn't get Quentin Williams, because you wouldn't have got Quentin Williams if we went and trade Mike Parsons. You wouldn't have had Clark at all. Take away Clark and Quentin Williams and just add Michael Parsons and add all those other things that I said that the secondary was with it, and you telling me that with Michael Parsons was going to make that better. We would have been worse. You take away Clark and Quentin Williams, just add Michael Parsons back, and the secondary, that wasn't going to change none of the secondary problems. That wasn't going to change none of the linebacker problems. But see, the perception of the media says, if you had Michael Parsons, you would have been 2 times better. That's what perception says. The perception of the media says, This is why we're being so gun-ho pushed by media sources that says, get Max Cosby and everything will be fixed. I say, I say this. I'm not down Matt Cosby is not a good player. But I wouldn't give up none of our draft picks, not no first round draft picks for Matt Cosby. I got a chance to improve two positions on my defense that can be very pivotal for years and be very pivotal this year. For one guy that I would say, even though he looks good, he's on the other side. And with the other team, he's been great every year. But their defense is lacked because they don't have other pieces. And the teams that has the sum of the parts on defense, like I keep trying to tell you, they're great defenses. Hold on 1 second, people. I gotta do one thing. I got some things in the oven. Hold on. I'm gonna turn the camera off. Do not leave. Please do not leave. I'm sorry about that, people. I hope I didn't lose a lot of people. But getting back to what I was saying, the perception of this whole thing is if we replace Max Cosby, we replace Michael Parsons. That's that's what's going to change the whole fortune of this defense. And I've been watching football a long time. And I don't really think that the pass rush was that lacking when I watched four or five opponents that throw the ball 90% of their completions was under 10 yards in the air. Philadelphia, Green Bay. I think Chicago threw two long balls, and the rest of them was shorts. And I don't think you were going to have no continuity in the back end anyway. Because of what I said, the mismatch area that you had in the backfield. I don't think we could go in a game that we could say who was the starting lineup two games in a row. And with our safety position so porous that like it was, it had no real, you ain't had no real back end leadership. If y'all heard me on the live shows, I kept saying during the season, I kept saying we playing with no confidence. And when you say a defense is playing with no confidence, know what you're saying? A defense, one of the main factors to make a good defense. See, y'all looking for good defense when y'all looking at stats. One of the main things that makes a good defense is swag and confidence. Why I say that? because defense do not know what you're going to do offensively. They're a reactionary unit. And the better defense that has that swag and confidence that says that whatever you do, we're going to stop it. We're going to force you to do what we want to do. We want you to do. And if you do get a play, that's not going to hurt us. We're going to take it right back. They have no type of uh, 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 no, they got no memory at all. That's with this defense, and I kept saying it. It had no confidence. You could see it playing with no confidence. Why I can say I can see it, a defense not playing with confidence. One, soon as we get a bad play, soon as things start rolling downhill, we can't recover. We cannot restore momentum. You can see our head drop. That comes because we got a bunch of guys that ain't getting no real time playing together to build no continuity. I see what she said, discipline. You can't even build discipline without continuity. And then you go a whole year, and I've said this time and time again. I really mean this. You cannot bring a player from another team after training camp is over, or when the season starts, from another team, and he becomes the leader of your team. If you, I have never seen a situation where you brought another guy that come to be a leader. That tells me that you have no leadership at all from the start with. If I got to go get somebody else from another house, and we could be together as a unit for 7 weeks, well, the OTAs, the off season, the OTAs, the before we get to training camp, and all training camp, and then I got to let another guy come in, and he's gonna take over the leadership role of this team. That tells me, what did I have before? So when they tell me Quentin Williams and Clark are leaders in the locker room, what did I say? That tells me y'all talk about players. Let's get that type of stuff straight first. I can guarantee you, for all the world is this, but that's not newsworthy topics. That's not gonna get us followers. That's not probably like me talking about that is not gonna get me subscribers. Y'all can see the little lights all around my board say like and subscribe. But sharing this and me talking about this and others talk about trading the whole barn away to get a player, going to get this player, going to get this free agent, spending money, being the most spend money player, and say that's gonna happen. And then y'all gonna give me some stuff that, well, other teams do it. Let's really look at them. Nobody's gonna sit down and say, let's look at them with me. Because they know when you dig deep in it, it's a lot more than this, them going to get guys. But there's no continuity. I can guarantee you all the tea in China, all the money in the United States, I can tell you this. The thing Christian Parker is concerned about more than anything is, before he started talking about get that player, this player, is getting continuity with his defense and getting guys that can play and be there from day damn one. Not a bunch of guys that say, well, he on pub. Yeah, this guy got an injury problem. guarantee you, he might love the Kobe Dean. He said in the other day that he said there's not a smarter guy and a guy that does a lot of film work than the Kobe Dean. I believe he really likes the Kobe Dean. There's no doubt that he don't like the Kobe Dean. And what you see on film, the physicality, the aggressiveness, great. But he's missing an average of 6 games a year for the last 3 years. It's a problem. Because that probably something he gonna get to training camp and then he out. Then you got no continuity. Then what we gonna do, as our Cowboy fans think, we can have important pieces to a brand new defense that be out, and we think, oh, it'll be all right. They bring it back later on. It'll be all right. They don't need to practice. Put on the shelf, bring it back, and we're gonna fit in. And anybody that tells me they play any type of defense on any level and tell me that that's not important, continuity on the defense, I'm gonna tell them they're a lie. Secondary, you got listen. The ones that know each other is move like the they. I love the Kobe Dean. I think he could be okay. I don't think for us, I really have me a younger, healthy linebacker. Because I asked the question again. I'm gonna say this question again. When you watch tape on the Kobe Dean, there's nowhere that you can tell me when you watch tape on the Kobe Dean that you don't see a ball. So if you see a ball, and Eagles that had the number one defense with this ball, and the Eagles got leverage against this baller because he done missed games where they could get this baller probably at a team-friendly discount. You mean to tell me they done drafted somebody else and they're going to go with some younger guys and then they're going to go with a rookie to replace a young guy that a baller? I ain't talking about an old guy. I'm talking about a guy in his second contract. Why would they let him walk out the door? Know why? Because they know his injury history. They know that car, that's just like a car. They say, man, this car is good. You about to sell this car. This car ain't that old. This car is a very good car. You know it's a very good car. People said it's a BMW. You know that car got some transmission problems. Yeah, I had to fix it. Yeah, I know he got this other problem. Yeah, just have a little problem with the the front end, but ain't showing that much. But yeah, it could, eventually get problems about. Yeah, I had to do some other things, but it's a real good car. So why you selling it? Oh, I'm selling it because I got this other car. If this car is good, why would you sell it now? Now, if I want a car to fix it up, I'll buy it because it's a good car. I already know I'm gonna have to invest into it. We don't have time to get free agents that you got to invest to keep their ass healthy. What are we thinking about? So we bring them here. If I knew Murray had injury problems, like I found out later on that he had injury problems in Tennessee and he missed some time, I would have said hell no to him. Because when I need my middle linebacker, I need him to say he's healthy out the way. This guy had Liz Frank foot injury. That come back again, he's done. He had meniscus problems. He done had back. He done missed 13. He done missed. If you take out what he done missed, He averaged about 6 games, 5 to 6 games a year. Come on, man. And we talking about being free agent and going out and paying for him. And then we get him at a cheap rate. I tell you like this: you get a guy that can ball like that when you watch the film, and then you can get him at a cheap rate. You don't see the red flags, y'all. The red flags is health, or the red flags that he's a problem. Now you can catch lightning in a bottle sometimes, and it turns out well for your team. Pickens. There was no suitors for Pickens. The Pittsburgh wanted to trade him. The Cowboys was the only people that really said that we'd give you a second round guy for you. And you said, okay. Because of problems. He turned out well because we had Dak Prescott. And he didn't have to come in and be a leader of the room. But you telling guys, you trying to get guys that maybe got some injury problems or whatever to be the leader of the room, especially a linebacker. I see they're looking at the guy from the Giants. He may be a good guy. I ain't watched no film on him, but I can probably tell you what the film says. The film gonna say that he does some good things, but he looked lackluster in a lot of things. Watch out. I haven't seen no film. I guarantee you, Boss Cowboy, y'all need to if y'all need to tune in to Boss Cowboy, he's doing a film breakdown. But I guarantee you, if you go back and watch it, it's probably gonna be like, yeah, he does something, but he sometimes he don't, he don't pop. It just seems like he loafing. Why? Because Harbaugh is a defensive minded coach. And if they're cutting bait with a guy like that so early, there's already whispers. They're already looked at this guy and say, this guy ain't worth his money. There's somebody on that team that's like Michael Irvin was when Jimmy Johnson came to Dallas. Yeah. Remember when Mike said when he heard Jimmy was coming to Dallas, he had his notebook and said, these are guys, get rid of that guy, get rid of this guy, get rid of that guy. I guarantee you, somebody that's pointed out to Harbaugh saying, get rid of this guy, get rid of that guy, this guy. These guys ain't gonna win with. But guess what? We hear the name, get a narrative. We hear the Schottenheimer said something about the guy. Now we want to jump on it. But let's dig deep instead of watching what they're playing for. Playing is gonna show you something. But let's dig deep and think about stuff. Why is he on the market? Because they like to say, well, that's a cap saving. Let me give you another thing to look at. If you want to know that the guy on the market got some issues other than tape, go to Spotify. Go to the contract breakdown. It'll tell you how much money they can save on the cap. It'll also tell you if they still owe this person some guaranteed money. If they owe this guy some guaranteed money and they let them go, where the guaranteed money would be gone next year, if the guy was such good, he wouldn't be gone. If they got rid of him, need to look hard. And know who they probably going to replace with? The guy I want to replace him with. I would, if I got a chance to get the kid out of Ohio State, the 6'5", 6'4" guy to play outside line, that's who I'm going to get. And he's gonna play just as well or better than that guy. I say this to say this, man, and I say this. I don't know how this coaching staff is gonna go play. But I know it's a young, vibrant coaching staff, and they went and got some outside linebackers. They went and got a very good outside linebacker coach, and they went and got a pass rush specialist guy. They brought those guys in to teach outside linebackers how to get to the quarterback. They brought these guys in because they said the main thing with this coaching staff, that they brought this coaching staff in, and they have said it over and over and over again, is their ability to teach. So you think that they're gonna go get a bunch of old guys to fill this defense out? They're going young. But to be able to teach, you got to have continuity. Next problem. Next thing I'm gonna say this. And our fan base is forget this. If you're on this channel and if you share this, I want you to share this part. This defense is not the defense pass in 25 was not worse than the defense that Mike Nolan had. No. Some people say, nah, this defense is worse, coach. No, Anytime you got teams running for 200-300 yards on you, that defense is worse. We had running backs that didn't even get 100 yards running for almost 200 yards. We couldn't stop nobody. Enough. And we changed that defense around with Dan Quinn. And I believe that this guy is a little bit better than Dan Quinn. Got the potential to be better. I believe this coaching staff that he got the potential to be way better than the coaching staff, defensive coach staff that Quinn had. And Quinn had some heavy hitters on there because Durden was a first-time coach, a young guy. Turned out to be pretty well. This guy went and got some young guys. Al Havers was the first-year coach. Turned out to be pretty well. He was on Dan Quinn's staff. Now he had some good guys that were good assistant coaches, like Joe Witt, more of a better assistant coach than a coordinator. At first, he had Leon Lett. Tell me where I'm wrong. He came in after Mike Nolan. Did he go get a bunch of old guys in free? He did get some free agents, but did he go get a bunch of old guys? And did we love all the guys that he was going to get? Boss Cowboy like Curse, Javon Curse. None of our other fan base liked it because he didn't start nowhere and was no all pro no place. Malik Hooker was coming off a knee injury, and they signed him. They brought him in, and they brought him in. He had his business. We started Donovan Wilson his first year starting. Now, people said were y'all enamored with Donovan Wilson, but Donovan Wilson was his first year starting. And he had what we considered a Pro Bowl year, him and Curse. That first year. Am I lying? See, people act like anybody debate me on this. They were the last defense in the league, but at the end of the year, they was 12th in defense. They were top 10 in scoring defense. And I would say the defense was the reason, not the offense, that we went 12-5 that year. Guess who we started at pass rush? A Randy Gregory, his first time really starting. If I'm lying, somebody do the research because I think y'all forgot. He had flashes of he didn't have no 8-9 sacks then. This was his first year starting. Yes, we had D-Law. We had Randy Gregory. Do you remember Randy Gregory and D Law were hurt for 3 or 4 games that first year of Dan Quinn? That's why Michael Parsons moved to defensive end. Do y'all remember that? We didn't have all our guys all year, and we still were balling as a defense. Yes, sir. When Dak Prescott went on 5 games, we won 4. We held Cincinnati under 20 points with Higgins and Chase. We had Brown at cornerback. The one y'all talked about Brown like he was a dog. I bet y'all wish y'all had Brown the last couple of years. Not Brown now because I be told it, but I bet y'all wish y'all had a guy like Brown then because y'all talk trash about him. He wasn't good enough. The same thing y'all saying about Osa. They could give you production, but they don't give you production over the top. They ain't good enough. I bet you wish you had him. Diggs was his second year starting. Quinn's first year. Diggs didn't look that great the first year. He looked okay, but he was getting burnt like toast. That first year, Bland was not starting. Bland was drafted. Or year 2, I don't think Bland was there on that first year. Year 2, Bland came around. Let's look at the defensive line. We had Carlos Watson we picked up off the scrap heap. Carlos Watson. We had Nella Gallimore. Yeah. Osa played a lot as a rookie. Yeah. Y'all talk about going to get all these other guys. I'm telling you what we had in this here. If I'm lying, give me somebody to debate because I'm waiting on somebody to come with this. From Mike Nolan defense, the 1 year we made 5 draft picks out of the first, all our draft picks. Yes, we had Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons had an okay year, but he didn't have a Myles Garrett year. But he had his best year because he was playing linebacker and he had to play defensive end. Why did he have to play defensive end? Because our defensive ends got hurt that year. We lost D-Law for 3-4 games, and we lost Randy Gregory for 2 or 3 games. Yeah, that year. People talking about what we're going to do for defense at the end. And guess who came along? Guess who the team developed? Guess who the team developed, y'all? When y'all talk about the guys on your team can't be developed. See, y'all talking about, well, you can't develop these guys. The guys can't be developed off your team because that's unheard of. You can't develop guys off your bench. That's we got guys on the team. We need to go get free agents because we can't develop these guys we got on there. Remember a guy named Dorrance Armstrong that wasn't getting no time, and he came and did and played some good football for us in the rotation, and he got 3 or 4 sacks, and we act like he didn't do anything, but Dorrance Armstrong was in that rotation. Yeah. And we got by with Dorrance Armstrong, and we went from butt naked last to the 12th defense in the league in a top 10 scoring defense. Yes, sir. No, nobody want to talk about that happened in Dallas. Why? Because Quinn changed the mentality of the defense that first year. He changed the mentality. He got continuity. He got guys to play their role. They got confidence with confidence in guys that play their role. That team had unity and they got better and they played their butts off. Even when your quarterback missed 5 games, you went 4-1 with that defense. And when you went to the playoff, that defense was the best defense that they played against San Francisco that year. Take away the penalties, they held the run game down with a bunch of ragtag guys. It was nobody on there being no superstars. a bunch of rookie guys. They had first year starters, 5 or 6 guys with their first year starting. But y'all say, no, you got to go get a bunch of veteran guys. It's already been done. Y'all act like y'all ain't see it. It's already been done right here. I guarantee you, if we had a 12 ranked defense this year, guess where you would have been at? In the playoffs. Quinn started when Quinn came here. Gregory, first year starting. Now you had some linebackers because you had LBE. You had Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith didn't even make it the whole year. You released Jalen Smith. Remember that? Y'all remember that? And you played with a guy that you brought in, that Quinn brought in. What's the guy they brought in? He played safety, but they moved him to linebacker. And he didn't play bad. We just said he played bad, but he didn't play bad. You cut Jalen Smith. Quinn played. Larry Brown. Brown was on his second year starting. Diggs was on his second year playing. His second year he started, but remember Diggs missed 4 or 5 games the first year because he got hurt, so he didn't play start the whole year. So this is his first year starting all the way. Bell came in from a from a, from from a defensive back to be a linebacker. You had when you got Hooker. Hooker didn't sign to the what is game 2 or 3. He didn't start. He wasn't there at the beginning, right? Marquise Bell was there, a undrafted free agent. I'll tell you, man. Donovan Wilson was on his first year starting. He was on the team, but he had never started. Curse started. Curse had never had a full-time starting role at nowhere in the NFL. You got him in there. And they started playing well. That's the first time you gave Jordan Lewis a start. Remember, Jordan Lewis was on the team. He would play outside corner, but now you put him in the starting position. You had a bunch of guys. Olsen was a rookie. You played the other guy that you drafted out of Purdue. He didn't practice the whole year, but he started getting rolled. He started getting time doing week 6, 7, all the way through the end of the year. Carlos Watson came from the undrafted somewhere off the street. Nelly Gallimore went all that great, but he played. And then Quentin Bohanna was a 6th-round draft pick. He got some time. That defense went from butt naked last to 12 and top 10 in scoring defense. They didn't bring nothing back. Now let's compare it to what that this defensive coordinator coming with. He's coming with a more experienced Osa. He's coming with a Clark that's a former Pro Bowler. He's coming with Quentin Williams, a dominating player. That team ain't had none of that. The best player they had was probably DeMarcus Lawrence. He's coming with a slate that we can solve the linebacker problem. But we got 8-0. He didn't have an 8-0 on his team. That when Quinn didn't have that. Now we need to solve the secondary problem. We changed all that stuff out the last time we went there. You can't tell me that this defense cannot be made. Did you got 2 first-round draft picks this time? And y'all worried about going and get old guys and saying, give up all your draft picks because we need to get old guys. And it's the blueprint was already done right here. And I guarantee Jerry went back to say, we need a coach that's going to unify this defense like Quinn did. Did that last here? No, the defense was never as horrible here than it was with the other defense coordinators. But I think what happened with Quinn, some apathy set in. Guys start smelling themselves. Instead of keep on being challenged, we start going crazy. What you gonna give up to get Miles Garrett? If you give up your first round draft pick, Miles Garrett is not gonna make you no better. You know it's gonna be, and I said this to a friend of mine, and this is what Cowboy fans want. Cowboy fans want the big shiny piece so we can brag and say we got Miles Garrett. We got Cosby. Because if we don't think we get a flashy name, we ain't did nothing. I watched us with Michael Parsons, and this is no disclaimer to Michael Parsons. Do we remember Green Bay game, the playoff game against Green Bay? See, everything was blamed on linebackers. We didn't get no pass rush. I think he finished that game with one tackle. One. We got 40 points put on us. The running back only ran for 130 yards. We got 40 points put on us. We had 7 plays in that game over 30 yards against us. I think 6 or 7 plays. Explosive plays. We had receivers running down the field wide open. We had receivers crossing the field where the quarterback was standing back there all day. They throw receivers across the field. And we had Michael Parsons. This is no disclaimer to Michael Parsons against San Francisco. Didn't do anything because San Francisco ain't going to allow you to let a pass rusher kill their game because they're getting the ball out. And most of their play action. So you could try to get pass rushers against them. You think you're going to beat them, but that ain't going to happen. You better have some hell of a secondary people and guys on the back end that's going to be physical against their receivers and going to jam this stuff up like we did 2 years ago when we played physical in the back end. We chasing waterfalls, man. I've seen it. I done seen it happen, and I think we got such short memories. And I think Christian Parker could do the exact same thing that Dan Quinn did ×2. Give him the nucleus he got right now. They're gonna make some players better. That's their job. This is where they keep talking about teaching. Seattle brought some guys in, but the level of some of the guys that was already there rised. Same thing with New England. Some of the guys that y'all don't talk about, their things rise. Their safety position, it rise. They got better out. They got better with some of the guys they had there. If we can get a healthy Bland, it's not Bland. But what's needed for them to do, we need a healthy team from day one. If we get anybody free agency, whatever, they got health issues, I don't want them. I'll take a little bit less talent for help because I know one thing: we need continuity. There's no defense without continuity, and I'm gonna go back to my same thing, and I'm about to get out of here. But I'm gonna go back to what I always said: this defense cannot. If we don't, this defense, we're gonna go as far as this defense can take us. You can bank on this. If y'all listen to me, bank on these things I'm about to tell you, and I'm not gonna waver off these things. First, number one, we're going as far as this defense takes us this year. Yes. The defense is gonna have to be the leading role to get where we're gonna go. The offense may not be as potent as it has been because it's gonna get figured out. Yes. They're not gonna allow to have the simplicity of it. It's gonna have to work, and the defense is gonna make it get better. But we're going as far as the defense takes us. Kansas City is going as far as their defense takes us. They had to learn that the hard way when they had Patrick Mahomes throw over 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards, and then they found out the defense they were going as far as the defense could take them, and Patrick Mahomes did less, but it mattered more. That person gonna have to do less, but it would matter more with a better defense. Not just a better defense. This defense has to be dominated. It has to have the mentality that we're gonna dominate. Just like my shirt's gonna come out. The defense is a weapon in Dallas. It has to be a weapon for us. Teams have to prepare for that weapon. That's first. The mentality of this defense has to be continuity, balling out, dominant. If it ain't that, we're gonna fail. You're not gonna get that way if you ain't got the mentality to be that way. Number two, everybody's got to be bought in for us to defend. If we're not bought in as a defense, we ain't gonna be able to defend. When I start hearing that, when we start having people talking about the defense and Matt Eaglefoot and all this stuff, I knew it was already over. I don't think Christian Parker's coming here to be friends with everybody. I think he's coming here to get a job done. But everybody's got to be bought in to defend. I'm not gonna work. I'm not gonna go away from that. You can talk about what talent you can have. I've seen teams with better. I think you got to have some talent, but talent and not without continuity usually fails. A tad bit less talent with more continuity sometimes do way more better. Playing the game the right way. I heard Seattle said team players say that the whole time during the parade. They were bought in to win. You got to be bought in to win, and on defense, you got to be bought in to defend. Next thing, if this defense is gonna have to be, it has to build three things on the back end. I need speed, I need some more size, and I need safeties that are trying to be stars. I need two interchangeable safeties that's coming out to be stars. Give me two dominating safeties, and I go without I go without Cosby, and I guarantee you it show this defense turn totally around. The DNA of the Dallas Cowboys has said that we have never been a dominant defense without great safety play. Some people gonna say, "Well, coach, you talking about old school." I'm talking about that. I'm talking about 2022, Dan Quinn's first year. We got to be the 12th ranked defense because Curse and Donald Wilson had dominating years. And Malik Hooker had his best year in Dallas. Tell me if I'm wrong. And every year after that, they went down, and every year after that, the defense went down. Tell me if I'm wrong. Y'all said that we had to pay Malik Cook. Javon Curse after. Remember, he was afraid he only came in 1 year contract, and everybody said we got to sign him the next year. And he got 2 years, $5 million. And Donald Wilson got the contract that he's on right now. That is over with. Y'all remember that? based off that year of their play. And that was the best Quinn defense here. And Donovan Wilson and Curse played with injuries and everything went down since that year. And defense progressively went down as well, along with Malik Hooker. Am I lying? I'm not lying. We hadn't had a number one defense since the great Dan Wilson was playing safety. With another safety he was playing with that was a killer. But we ran him out here talking about because he couldn't cover everybody. Palomalo couldn't cover nobody either. But we, I tell you, man. And those two safety played so well together. There was the last time we had number one defense. Those two guys. Straighten that out. And play a little bit more physical on the back end, and let's see how that works. Continuity. Last year, team had no continuity. We had guys out from the beginning of the training camp, guys, linebackers missing games. Then when we get into the season, Bland plays one game, then he out. You don't know how hurt he was during the training camp. Then Diggs ain't played till he gets there the first week. Then he goes out, then he started playing. Look how much time he just started practicing on the team ready for the games. Butler never got out there. Then you start bringing guys off undrafted free agents that you brought to the team. Two guys you brought to the team that played a lot of minutes that you brought to the team after training camp was over with. You brought them the last week after they got cut, and you brought them they started practicing with the team after the training camp was over with. So where the continuity coming in at? Really, and all them started coming. They came in after. Where was the continuity coming in at? You playing with a rookie linebacker. He wasn't supposed to play this year. Sandberg should come get him there. We talk crazy about him. He gets hurt. You never see the field no more. 8-0 didn't practice till what? The season started. Some of y'all gonna say I'm talking bad. I'm defending Matt Eagleflus. Well, in some ways, yeah. That was a situation. And then he had some problem with him because they weren't listening. And he wasn't energetic enough. Christian Parker ain't worried about y'all talking about going out and getting all these great players. Christian Parker's first thing he worried about is getting some continuity with this defense and the word that my friend Jessica been saying since the beginning of this show. Continuity builds discipline. This will be a well-disciplined defense in how they go about stuff. This will not be a hero ball defense. He's a very intelligent guy, but if he comes from Dick Fangio cloth, Fangio ain't play that undisciplined stuff. And he wasn't the nicest guy to play with either. Now, there's something I said about, and I'm quite sure we're going to have somebody nitpick what I said. But I always say this. Come with facts. Don't come with some trends. But when you come with something and it's way off track and it happened 1 out of 40, 50 times, and some of y'all might say, Coach, what Quinn did was that don't usually happen either. That's true too. That's correct. But I think you got more resources now to be able to do even better than what Quinn did. You can put 2 first-round draft picks on this defense. A 12th pick. What Michael Parsons was 10? Usually in the draft, there's only about 10 or 16 true first round draft picks. They tell you that the draft board. Everybody, and then you got some people that be drafting the first round that may have some second round grades at certain time. So you got enough. You got enough to get a star at the beginning of the draft. I just don't see you trade Michael Parsons to be right back in the same spot with Cosby and lose all the capital you got to be that way, and then have him, and then don't have no other draft picks. Then be sitting around trying to get trash off the free agency mark because you ain't got no you're not gonna go out there and spend the farm and all everybody else. Man, I thank y'all for coming in. Big time show. I thank you, Jessica. I mean, these people, man, coming in here. Donald, man. My first lady, Ginger. All y'all, man, for coming in, man, with some great commentary. I'm not saying not to go out here and listen to our other content creators. Um, let's see what some of these people said. Yeah. Um, let's see some of this stuff. Let's go ahead and put some of these comments because some of these people, I know y'all see some of the comments. You can't move DB to corner when he's a DB and not a corner because he will be out of place. Yeah, that's right. You can't be listen. We listen. There's gonna be some defensive changes. I think I'm thinking that Siobhan Rebel was a better safety. Um, and I think he may fit safety when we talking about that. But if you do fit safety, you got to put him in there right now in training camp. And I think this coaching staff is going to look into certain things, but they're going to try to get continuity with it. Again, continuity is going to be key. I'm just going to put out some of these comments, man, because I hate to see y'all put these comments out here and we don't see them. If you want to support the show, man, my cash app is right there in the bottom hand corner, man. If you want to support the show. Yeah, you got to study film, and we got some people out there who want to study film. We got some players who want to study film. I don't think I think we didn't build no continuity with our defense, and it was hard. I'm not a Matt Eberflus fan now. I'm not trying to win, but I feel for Matt Eberflus. I understand how that goes. So did Curse start in Atlanta last year? That what you're saying? Curse started in Atlanta because he wasn't in Atlanta before he came to Dallas. He had spot duty. He came from Philadelphia. I mean Minnesota. He may have had a couple of days, but he didn't have never had a whole year started. Now you had the linebacker started in Atlanta. That came here. That played safety. That came in as a linebacker. Yeah, Marquise Bell came. I think Marquise Bell came in the second year. I don't think he was in that first year, Queen. But all these guys, man, I think Marquise Bell is done at safety. I think I don't want to try I need the safety room need to change all totally. I don't want to see none because I think all these young guys, all these older guys has been here at safety, they got bad habits. And when you lose bad habits of being aggressive, that's now you're trying to just get around the game. And we need to move on from all that. And it's gonna be revealed. I can guarantee you that Coach Bell see the exact same thing. A lot of our content creators who watch the film don't watch for that. But I guarantee you, Coach Parker is gonna keep addressing that. We got to be more aggressive, more attack. We got to be more diligent on our back end. And he's gonna start talking about that. And he's telling you what he really needs in that back end. And he needs a Dan Woodson type of guy. He's talking about he needs that hybrid type of guy, but he needs guys that's looking to make plays and to be able to attack the football. He didn't have those guys. I don't want guys that are what we call power watchers or guys that can't get physical with people because they're not big enough. When you start seeing Donovan Wilson looking like he's losing weight because he's trying to get some quickness back, it's time to move on, man. Let me put my stuff up here because if you can donate to the channel, if you can my cash app is here, but if you could send a super chat, all those things is great. I'm probably for me to be the I need about 30, 40 more dollars in super chats to be able to reach a milestone in with the super chats, as well as um getting the milestone of subscribers. So if you got friends out there, please tell them to subscribe to Coach Marv. Go to my Twitter, subscribe is that way on X. Follow me on Facebook at Coach Marv. Send me a friend request on Coach Marv, and we're gonna try to build this thing. I'm not trying to argue with anybody. I'm quite sure some people are gonna go out there and disagree with me on this, but I think we chasing waterfalls. Get some continuity and work on that back end, and let's keep these draft picks and get some good draft. Let's get 2 first-round defense players in here, and let's rock and roll with this defense. I think there's 2 guys out there that probably we could be very happy with. That's going to do very good in this defense. Give this young coaching staff what they need. Give them somebody that they can say, "Hey, we can put our blueprint on this, so we can teach this guy and get this guy ready to be dominated." Don't take them away and then start trying to get them undrafted free agents because you know took the draft picks to get them old guys that they ain't got to teach. Until next time, man. Thank y'all so much for supporting the brother. Thank y'all for being in here. Thank you for all the content creators being in here. Until next time, man. Remember my slogan is always say, "No one and nothing can stop God's will." Regardless of all the controversy that's going around in these land today, all the wars and the rumors of wars, which is really depressing. No one can stop God's will. And sometimes God's will is happening even in the midst of this of tragedy. His will be on earth as it is in heaven. So keep pushing, keep grinding, stay low, and keep loving your family, man. Love. Because first of all, that's what it's gonna be. God is love and love is God. So if that is the true thing, love will always conquer. Until next time. Peace.